Length. Mark Spitz's NCAA and Olympic swimming conquests are legendary. Edwin Moses' final commandment: go 10 years and 122 consecutive hurdle events without a defeat. Well, now Cael Sanderson may reach the highest amateur athletic achievement. Perfection is possible. His father coached him, his brothers pushed him. He's dominated his opponents since he was 9 years old. Unlike other near-perfect young athletes, Cael wasn't humbled when he entered college. Iowa State, nonetheless. 39-0 and national champ as a freshman. 40-0 as a sophomore, another title closing in on history. In 2001, he smashed Dan Gable's 31-year record for consecutive victories, tacked on 40 more wins and a third national title at 184 pounds. Well, this season he moved up to 197. He got engaged to girlfriend Kelly Kennard and defeated 39 more opponents. 158 in all have taken him on. He has taken them down. With 84 gold medalists Jeff Blatnick and Stacey Pates, I'm Adrian Karsten. We have been wrestling with words all day long on how to set this up. It was 32 years ago this weekend that when Dan Gable, the name synonymous with national championships, lost at 99-0 his very last match as a senior. You saw the record of Cael Sanderson. No athlete in the history of college competition has gone undefeated with 4 national championships. You could be watching history, Joe.
I too have been wrestling with words how to describe him. Phenomenal, unique, unprecedented.
13,000 plus come to their feet here at the Pepsi Arena in Albany, New York. There is nothing in the history of sports. Mark Spitz, Edwin Moses, Eric Heiden. They all did their things for different medals at different times, at different places, in different times. And the amount of time they had to compete. We're looking at most here, probably 7 minutes. For a young man from Iowa State, and fittingly, Dan Gable came from Iowa State. We spoke with him earlier on. He wishes him nothing but the best. But remember, 32 weekends, or 32 years ago this weekend, 99-0, in comes Dan Gable, and he lost to Larry Owens.
Big upset. And I'll tell you what, that motivated Gable to go out and win the Worlds, win the Olympics, and then as a coach, win 15, 16 national titles for Iowa. And you almost have to wonder if Cael Sanderson has a poster in his room. I am not Dan Gable, because they compare him to him. But his opponent here, Jon Trenge, Sanderson has dominated everybody. Pinned, technical fall, or forfeit. There's only 2 matches he didn't do it. He won by 10 and then 6-1, and it was against this man, Jon Trenge of Lehigh.
For the NCAA National Championship at 197 pounds, Cael Sanderson trying to make history in the red singlet from Iowa State, and Jon Trenge from Lehigh. A sophomore versus obviously the senior.
One other important thing to note here. First time today that I've seen it, but Lehigh with Greg Strobel and Bobby Douglas of Iowa State, they have both been Olympic coaches. And it's the first time 2 Olympic coaches have been sitting in opposite corners, looking at one another with their athletes on the mat.
They're trying to win on points. 2 for a takedown, 2 for a reversal, 2 for a near fall, 3 points for a fall, practically the pin, and 1 point for an escape. Now keep in mind 2 things. So far in competition, Jon Trenge has pinned his first 3 opponents. No one other wrestler out of 320 odd or 330 have done that. The closest match that Sanderson had this year was against this man, Jon Trenge. What a match.
This 6-1 match that I witnessed at the Coaches Association Classic, sort of an all-star match in wrestling. Trenge was ultra-conservative. He learned the first time going out and trying to mix it up with Sanderson. He lost by over 10. Second time he tried conservative, and he kept the match close. But there's no denying Sanderson. He gets on the board first. He may get back points. He does have back points.
Is it speed? Is it strength? Is it a combination?
It is all of the above. He isn't strong in one area and uses it to his advantage. He's strong in every area. And that's what has set him apart. That is what has made him unique.
Boy, he's going to get this. There is no holding back here whatsoever. I don't think that there is any other sport, collegiate or otherwise, that demands more discipline, physically or mentally. That in the person you see is Mom Debbie and the rest of his family.
What a way to go out with a fall. What a way to go out in the collegiate season. Gable said it best. Cael is brought to wrestling a whole new tactical and technical area. He is something new. He is an evolution.
Undefeated, potentially a fourth consecutive national championship. Both Gable and Sanderson from Iowa State.
Steve Sanderson, his father.
Recording the moment, obviously.
And he was the coach at Wasatch High School in Heber City, Utah, in which all the brothers, Cody, Cole, Cael, and Kyler, who just won a state title in high school, came through.
Another name synonymous with national championships, the head coach from Iowa State, Bobby Douglas, has been around practically forever. He's done a beautiful job with all of his athletes here today. But what a golden moment for Bobby Douglas. Technically, look at Sanderson. There's Bobby. Going for the fall.
Watch Sanderson come again. There it is. Unbelievable how consistent, aggressive, and he doesn't cut you a break. Not at all. He's always on you.
I will say this, in our previous match at 184 pounds, there was a Lehigh wrestler who was down by 10 points, came back and pinned his opponent. It shocked this entire house. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible, and here you see Trenge now working hard to get back in the match.
Sanderson trying to put his picture in the history books when we return. 97 pounds. We are practically 4 minutes away from making history. If Cael Sanderson, the senior from Iowa State, undefeated at this point, 158 wins, no losses, can do something, otherwise he will try and end this before the end of the third period, before the end of regulation. His opponent, Jon Trenge, they know each other well. Trenge here since Thursday, pinned his first 3 opponents. Very impressive. No other wrestler has even come close to that. There goes Sanderson. Look at the speed. Shooting low, going for the ankles of Trenge from Lehigh.
That is his signature move, is the ankle pick, and he caught Trenge with it. Trenge fully aware that's what he likes to do, but Trenge has to get on his horse. He's down 9-2. He knows he needs to score points. And as he becomes more offensive, believe it or not, Cael Sanderson becomes more dangerous.
3-time NCAA champion at 184. Then he bulked up to 197. 4-time Big 12 champion. 2-time academic All-American. Most impressive and most important, 2-0 against Jon Trenge.
Well, Sanderson likes to hunt and fish. I wonder if he does catch and release. I kind of doubt it. And I'll tell you, he's one of the most quiet and unassuming and humble individuals you'll ever meet. The only time I ever saw him get emotional after one of his championships was as a freshman, when that might have been really big and bright. After that, it's been all business.
Well, he's trying to catch a whopper here, and if he lands this one, he better have more than 197-pound test line, I'll say that.
And if anybody's wondering what he's going to do when he's done, he's already made the comment. The Olympics are what separate the great wrestlers from the good ones. So he was already on this year's world team, but because of 9/11, Madison Square Garden was going to host the World Championships in September. That all got canceled, and Cael decided at that point he would focus on his college season rather than wrestle in the rescheduled ones in December. And he has been on course and focused.
His father pushed him, his brothers pushed him, coached him, supported him, as did his entire family.
15 seconds. 20 seconds.
What a moment for them. Look at the intense look on both their faces. Dad's got one eye open, one eye closed. Mom might have both closed here in just a few moments.
Well, rumor had it that while they roughhoused, though they were told not to roughhouse in the house, supposedly Debbie did a little wrestling with all of his sons at one point or another.
The living room is not a playground.
And Bobby Douglas said she's the alpha of the house. So you got to wonder. It's in the family, it's in their blood, and it's certainly demonstrated by Cael Sanderson's skill and heart.
Again, we say we've been wrestling with words. Imagine this moment. This has never happened. Undefeated. The name Dan Gable. When you mention wrestling, people think Dan Gable. The next Dan Gable, his record potentially is going to be better. But after this victory, what is next for a Sanderson after the Olympics? There is no, quote, professional wrestling league. You can't be drafted.
No, it'll be Olympic-style wrestling. He'll probably wrestle in a couple world championships if he continues to develop. And I'm sure he's looking at his main goal right now, 2004 in Athens, Greece.
Drive his head down, drive his head down, drive his head down, drive that head down, pull it across your knee.
You hear Greg Strobel saying to Trenge, drive Sanderson's head down, keep him down, don't let him get a head up and start moving around. Sanderson does it with motion. He doesn't do it with brute force. He moves in a different speed.
Kelly Kennard, very influential in his life.
Stand!
His fiance, and the voice and face of Bobby Douglas, his head coach, with 1 minute, 10 seconds left to go to a 4th consecutive NCAA national championship.
And here he comes. Just as Trenge seems to be holding Sanderson down, Sanderson erupts, gets a reversal. 11-3 now the score.
I'm looking at the faces of the 13,000 plus around this Pepsi Arena. They're anticipating the moment. They will know where they were when this happened.
It's almost as though they expect it. It's almost as though, and I'm not saying they're rooting against Jon Trenge. Everybody loves to see the big upset as well. But it's just this overwhelming force. Year after year, people thought, well, somebody will have his number. But no one has been able to add up the numbers to find the answer to Cael Sanderson.
Now go. Good. Let's go. Lock them up, let's go.
As if you could put a lock and key around Sanderson.
What he's saying is get an upper body lock and go for broke. There's nothing to lose. If you're going to lose, you lose. So might as well go for broke. Get up there, lock upper body, try to throw Sanderson to his back, and do what his teammate Roan did. Come back from a big point deficit with the fall. But that's all it's going to take now. 16 seconds to history.
One of the first men on the mat, besides Bobby Douglas, his head coach, I can promise you, besides Jeff Blatnick, who was on his way to congratulate Cael Sanderson, is going to be Dan Gable. What a story. Both wrestlers from Iowa State. The dynasty, the history. The first man in the history of athletic competition to go undefeated, never a loss. 159 wins, no losses. 4 consecutive national championships. Cael Sanderson from Iowa State University. An Olympic gold medalist and a history maker. Jeff Blatnick and Cael Sanderson.
Jeff Blatnick with a victorious Cael Sanderson. You're the second to win 4 national titles, but you're the first to go undefeated. 159-0.
I don't know what to say. I'm pretty happy. This is very nice. It's great. It's great.
Do you realize the enormity of your accomplishment?
I just know that I'm tired. I'm getting old. That's all I know. It's been a lot of fun, though.
Bobby Douglas said there's just been a ton of pressure. How did you deal with it?
Not very well. I just tried to stay focused on my next match as hard as it was, but I was real lucky.
Well, you don't look like you're old at all. What's next now after this?
I don't know. I'm going to sneak off and take my brother take him fishing or something. I don't know.
How about the sport of wrestling? What's next for you there?
Oh, wrestling. I'm going to start training in about a week, less than a week. Get ready for freestyle. So that should be fun.
Well, Dan Gable was said to be the coach and the wrestler of the 21st century. You definitely, at the start of millennium, your name is synonymous with collegiate wrestling.
I've just been really fortunate. The amount of support I've had is it's unbelievable. You know, that's what it takes.
How important has been your family in this entire process?
Undescribable. I'm always looking for them whenever times are rough, and I don't know, it's hard to describe.
We heard your brother was chaperone. How tough has this been for your coach, and how important has he been in your career?
He's a phenomenal coach. He's brought me along so well. He's just a great man. He's a great friend, great person.
Now, we understand there's still another Sanderson coming. How important was this to your youngest brother?
Probably just going to put a little more pressure on him in his upcoming years, but he's having fun. He loves wrestling, and he's going to end up getting the same kind of love and support that I got from my family. So.
Well, the adulation of the crowd here at the Pepsi Arena is with you. And we actually have heard now there's actually promotions out with your name and likely lists, including a bobblehead down.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. I try not to comment too much on that. It's kind of hard to talk about. It's kind of weird. But it's our marketing department, Thad Dorn, did a real nice job for me this year. He promoted me and our team real well, and I appreciated his effort.
Well, my last question to you is, express to our fans, what do you think makes you different from all the other wrestlers here?
Just a lot of luck and just having the support from my family and the competitiveness we had growing up, and, you know, just everything. It's just all about family. It's all about family.
Now, certainly the family has treated you well. Cael Sanderson, the first undefeated collegiate wrestler in NCAA history. Back to you, Adrian.